Hello and welcome to our Friday webinar. This is our first one of the 2024, so this is extra exciting. We're kickstarting 2024 with, we got two special guests today. We have Ann Brooks and we've got Dr. Susan Oroz. Thank you for joining us today and welcome. And we are going to talk about a very a special upcoming event that if you're a bird lover of any sort, this is something you want to pay attention to and see what great topics and just a great event that it's coming in store here. And these two are going to run us through it and give us a sneak peek, right? So I wait for people to log on. Just wondering, like, any New Year's resolutions that particularly pertaining to birds, or how we might better care for them, or okay, Dr. Rose, what would be your top 3 resolutions for bird owners coming to, like, from a vet's point of view?
I think I might not be able to do this at 3s, but
or 2 or 1.
Yeah, I think doing what you're doing here is to have a better knowledge base of understanding about your bird. And associated with that, then the corollary is that you're more in tune with your bird. And this kind of gets into that education aspect is what we're talking about today, honestly. You know, you just showed us your T-shirt of 50 years at the Lafeber Company, and yes. I was like,
Lafeber.
I thought, oh my God, I've known Dr. Lafeber probably pretty darn close to that number of years, and it's been an interesting ride being a veterinarian that long in the field of avian medicine. So I think education is really the key, because it keeps changing, right? And it keeps growing. So I think it's wonderful. And we're here, Ann and I are here to talk about our experiences and how we melded that into having our Phoenix Landing. I like to call it a retreat.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like a retreat, because we all kind of gather up on a weekend and be bird geeks and learn from each other. So there you go.
Nice. And anything to add to that?
My top 3 recommendations
are, yeah, I just threw out 3 because
the widest cage possible, places to go and things to do. Go slow, build trust, real food. That's my mantra. Go slow, build trust, real food. So
it's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, there we go. Okay, that's a good way to start, because we're still kind of fresh into the new year. So there's never too late to start, and you can start any time of the year, but why not now, right?
Right.
So let's see. I think
never too late, right? Right, Laura?
Never too late.
Never too late.
Education, right? It's why we do this and why we keep the price really low, because we want people to come. We know we're not making money. We just want people to come do something better for their birds. So,
and if you've ever thought about going to a wellness retreat or a bird conference of any type, and you're like nervous or hesitant because you've never gone to one, make this the year that you kind of check those out, because this is an excellent one to start with. So I'm gonna let you guys take it over, and I'm sure I think you have a share for us, and
oh yes,
we'll go from there.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's make this the starting point for some for just going to one of these events it's so amazing. Especially when you think
very popular these days too. Everybody is moving to Asheville, but you don't have to move. You could just come visit and enjoy it.
Even if you don't know a single soul going, you'll find people there that are going to
absolutely
be your birdie buddies, so to speak. I've seen
it's a very diverse community that comes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So Ann and I kind of got our heads together on this. I don't know how many years ago, Ann. I can't remember.
Too many. Yeah.
Enough. And so from Laura's recommendation, she just suggested that this would be a time to come. Yeah, this is a time to come, because you notice that I was up to close to the 50 years of knowing the Lafebers. And so it isn't like we have a whole bunch of them left in us.
Oh.
So that's a reason. And then what I tell my clients is I want everybody to be members of Phoenix Landing because it just helps everybody. It helps your bird, it helps you, it helps others around you with birds to learn information, and all of their money goes back to the birds. What better organization? I mean, it's just an amazing thing. And I remember Asheville, North Carolina, when it was a very sleepy town, because at the time I was a faculty member at the University of Tennessee Vet School, and I ran their avian, wildlife, and exotic animal medicine program at the University of Tennessee. And I occasionally would go over to Knoxville, or from Knoxville to Asheville, not too far, really windy road though, through the mountains. And Asheville's a beautiful place, but it was this nice, sleepy, beautiful place. And now it's like a yuppie place to go in a way, but it's a wonderful place, a wonderful time to have a wellness retreat. And what Ann and I thought about many, many years ago, before we started this, there was at Mid-Atlantic States AAV. And in that meeting was more of this laid back, lectures were given for like an hour. You could sit around and talk about things. You had time for questions. You had dinner with people. You could have breakfast with people, and you communicated. You really communicated, and you got a chance to ask questions and talk about answers. And as veterinarians, you know, there's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things we didn't know. I mean, we know more, but we don't know everything. And many of them were held in Williamsburg, Virginia. So it just kind of set the stage, so to speak, of wonderfulness and that sharing and that communication. So, because at most meetings, they're the presentations are very short. There typically isn't a lot of time for questions. And then that speaker kind of disappears into the crowd and you can't find them. It's just a difficult thing. It's just very different. And we wanted to retain, as you know, as Ann had said, and also Laura, about, hey, if you want to come, this is your year to come. It's your year to come. Let's just say that. And you're not a stranger very long to everybody else. We have name tags, we chat with people, because it's a geeky weekend, man. It's geeky. If you're a bird geek, it's for you. And you know, this is a time where veterinarians who are interested in birds come, veterinary students, behaviorists, bird owners, everybody who's interested in making the lives of parrots better. A lot of those people show up for this, and our conservation folks. So it's a great time. And as Anna said here, something for everyone. So there are.
The community's grown, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we started off with kind of very specialized kind of people, and it's now become a really diverse group. We have a lot of welfare organizations that come now. We have the bulk of the people that come are just people who love their birds and want to give them a better life. And then there's the best of the veterinarian community, and it's very diverse. So again, something for everybody. Don't think that it's above your, you know, too scientific for you, or, you know, not something you're going to find
We have
helpful.
lectures at different
Yeah, we're going to
levels.
show you a draft schedule.
Yeah, we're going to show you that.
There you go.
And so the other thing is you have, you know, credits that you can get if you're in these different groups. If you're in those different groups, there is a way. Anne has been tirelessly working on that kind of stuff, which is that. Hats off to Anne, because it's no easy feat to get that. And then there's also veterinary student scholarships. And I'll divert here for a minute about that. And that is, we have Harrison Bird Food, and we have the Lafeber people helping us out here. But one of the things that we wanted to do is make it so that we could allow vet students to come with some scholarships because they don't have a lot of money. And we want to entice them.
Mhm.
And the reason that you don't mind if I talk about this, Andy?
No, we need more
Yeah.
avian veterinarians. It's
That's the point.
a serious problem. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so since COVID, more people have gotten animals, and the assumption of the veterinary community, which is always wrong, is that they're dogs and cats. And they didn't also understand that I used to say to my dean at the College of Veterinary Medicine, birds are animals too. And so he would look at me like, oh, her again, you know? And so, so we have more animals of all different varieties, not just dogs and cats. We're about 55,000 veterinarians short in this country. There's more pressure put on vet schools to get people out and do it at less cost. And I've been told that at many vet schools, they're told by, okay, this is my bias. They're told by veterinarians who never were in private practice, who don't know anything about private practice. Oh, you can't make money in exotics or with birds. You know, you want to do dog and cat or emergency. And so young people are swayed. And so they go, oh, well, maybe I've got all this huge debt load. Maybe I shouldn't think about that. And so vet schools are also cutting back on their programs they're reducing that to more dog and cat medicine. And there are fewer vet schools that have exotics in their program, and specifically birds. And those that teach birds are not someone like me, who is a bird specialist to the American Board of Veterinary Practitioners. They're more generalists in exotics. Okay. So, so that leads to this fragmentation effect. So we try everything we can do, because there are veterinary schools that are easily drivable away from Asheville, so that they can come for the weekend. And we've tried to set it at a time before exams start. So that's one of the other reasons we have it at the time we have it at.
And we don't usually have very many. We have 5 or 6, but hey, they may be the next 5 or 6 great
We
avian
need them.
exotic
We have to do 'em.
veterinarians that
Yeah.
are going to take care and save the life of your bird. So, well, shall we talk about some of the speakers? Starting with the
Absolutely. Let's go, Ann. Show us there.
Okay.
Oh,
Tell us about some of these people. Let me first say Dr. Susan Orris, acclaimed veterinarian who's got is certified also in Europe, one of the few, and a very grateful Phoenix Landing board member. She and several others are sponsored by Lafeber for this retreat. So she's one of our stars, not only as the founder of the retreat, but as I think one of the best, if not the best, avian veterinarian in the world. So there. Yeah. Now take it away. You could talk about everybody else. Yeah.
Okay. So Cindy Brown is coming from, she's in the New York City area. She's just, I think, recently moved positions. So we have to change that probably, but it's just so recent that we haven't had a chance to change that. Cindy I've known for quite a while. And in fact, before Phoenix Landing was in Asheville, there's a marvelous herbal medicine conference that I went to every year. Well, I didn't go to every year, but I was going to a couple of them when I was a faculty member at the University of Tennessee. And I coerced Cindy into coming. And so she came down from New York because she did her residency and her board certification with the Animal Medical Center in New York City. So she came down, and at the time it's a completely different world, working in a very high stress veterinary hospital with all kinds of specialists, and then you suddenly are in this beautiful mountain view area with people in non-traditional medicine. And so Cindy has kind of gotten that bug, and so she's going to be talking about a number of those things. We're having her come talk about some alternative medicine issues.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that when we get to the functional areas. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And then my good friend Scott Eccles. Scott, I think if he doesn't win a Nobel Prize, man, that's
He will.
he should. And I see you got him with his long tresses.
Oh, I was sitting next to him at the veterinary conference last year, and I
think it's
couldn't
great.
resist capturing him with his longer hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So Scott is also boarded in avian medicine. He's been very involved in understanding how to image things to give us much more information about the anatomy and hence the physiology of birds and other animals. And he's just a walking plethora of information and knowledge, and he's agreed to help us out at a conference. And then there's my good friend Dr. Bob Dalhousen. We both went to Ohio State together. He was in the class in front of me at Ohio State, and he also has a master's degree in reproductive medicine. And Bob is so smart that he says, oh, on the side. So a lot of people don't know he has this veterinary molecular diagnostic lab, and that's his side job. And he said, oh, I bet you I can figure this out. How many people can figure out? He'll say to me, well, I went through GenBank and I was looking at this genome sequence. Yeah, right. Okay, Bob. And so he's also a different walking encyclopedia. He's a walking encyclopedia of knowledge about viruses, bacteria. And because he has this lab, he also can tell you about, if there's an outbreak or there's something. And he's been very, very involved. We've been involved together in terms of looking at avian bornavirus. So, so he's a wonderful guy, wonderful and knowledgeable, and he's also a clinician. So in addition to having his diagnostic lab that does PCR analysis, and most of us, when he starts talking, we go, I don't know what he's talking about.
Kind of like when you start talking, Susan.
I mean, he's like very good at, yeah.
Yeah.
But Bob also is a clinician. He also sees birds and he has a veterinary practice. So that's the other thing. And then another one of my former students is Scott Stahl, and he's also boarded in avian medicine. He runs a great veterinary hospital with interns and residents, a great teacher, and a great veterinarian, obviously. So he's really wonderful. So
and if you get him off to the side, he'd love to talk about reptiles because, he won't admit it, but he really likes reptiles better than birds. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's his love. But see, he came from a time like me where you had to, there wasn't any board certification in reptile medicine, or he would have done it. We know that. But I say birds are better than reptiles, Scott, and so thank God you got it in avian medicine. So then Rachel is working on, is she working on it? She finished. She got her.
She's board certified now.
Yeah. So, and so is Jessica.
She hasn't taken her, Jessica hasn't taken her test yet.
But Rachel has, right? Yeah. So yes. Rachel's passed. And she's at the Animal Medical Center for Birds, which is the practice of Dr. Brian Spear. And she's going to have several lectures. Great person, great speaker. And Jessica Magnotti has gone from Dr. Stahl's practice, where she did a residency. She's now at Gulf Coast. and she's in the process of taking board. So she's there. And Crystal Schulman, she's also at Dr. Spear's practice, and she's in the process, right, of taking boards this year, I think, maybe, Anne?
Yeah, she's a resident. I don't think she's ready
Yeah.
for her board yet, but I've known her since she
Get
was a vet
close.
student, and she's one of the smartest people on the planet. She's really going to be important to the future of avian medicine. So we tried, Dr. O we were trying to think of the theme this time, and we decided to make it kind of futuristic, and that we wanted to focus on some of the younger avian veterinarians. So that's why Rachel, Jessica, and Crystal are on the
Right.
are
Right.
with us, because we want you to know the future. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of us that are oldsters, Bob and myself, and I might even have to put Scott in that category, both Scotts, because I've watched the two Scotts' careers from when they were residents. Well, before that with Stahl, because he came and did a preceptorship as a vet student at the University of Tennessee. So it's been a long time, but some of us have been around long enough that we have a different view when we're looking forward. So you have that young group, and then you have the old group that have been around for a while and go,
More experience.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to the other speakers?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's go.
So we try not to make it all medical, because not everybody's
Right.
interested in medical things. And so we try to have a different behavior speaker each time. I think some of you who were there last time met Cassie. Cassie, like Vouter, formerly worked at Natural Encounters. And for those of us who are deeply involved in the behavior world, Natural Encounters is kind of the mecca that we go to for training, for hands-on training and concepts, etc. So I personally have not trained with Vouter, but know him from my times at NEI, and he's a great guy and a great trainer, and it'll be a real pleasure to see him again. And then a lot of you probably know of or have met Chris Shank from Cockatoo Downs. She used to do retreats as well, but she free flies her birds. One of the few people that I think we can say does that in a responsible way. It's not something anybody should just do. So she's very familiar with flight and building the aviaries the birds live in, et cetera. And she's just a great person. So we're glad that she's able to join us. She was supposed to join us last time, but she got COVID the day before and couldn't come. So we wanted to make sure and have her back. And then if you came last time, you might have met Jose. He's very charismatic. I got to know Jose when we went to Bolivia on one of our eco tours. He spent 13 years there doing conservation related things. And then now he works for the Macaw Recovery Network and lives in his home country again of Spain. And we just found him to be so knowledgeable and helpful that we invited him to join our board last year when we had a space open up. So we're glad that he can come back, because he's just
Very
a wealth
glad.
of knowledge. Yeah. And again, the younger generation that's important for our future.
Right.
And then in the enrichment world, we have Deb. She's of our 7 retreats. I think she's been there for 3 of them or so. I mean, there aren't a lot of enrichment organizations out there. And yes, she owns a business, but enrichment is her thing. And she's always got some new 2 or 3 different toys to make. So if you just want to go have fun and make some toys, she's your gal, So again, there's something for everybody, so that you don't feel like you have to get deep into the science of ganglioneuritis. You can, go talk about, why does my bird behave that way? Or teach me how to make a new toy. So,
Yep. I think
so that's our non-medical lineup.
This is the beauty of this conference.
Yeah.
It's that this shows you there's something for everyone. And even from a veterinary side, many years ago, many now, Chris Shank invited me when she had retreats. She invited me to come out, and as you guys know, I'm not great with my calendar sometimes. And I thought my daughter was graduating from high school the following weekend, except she wasn't.
Oops. Yeah.
So I flew out there. I gave my hour lecture that turned into 2 hours because it was just so much fun. And then I had a person going, and I had to jump back into the car and fly all the way back to make it in time for my daughter's graduation.
Yeah. Got to work on that calendar. Don't miss the retreat, Susan.
I'm bonded to Chris Shank, you know, because boy, she just did it. So, and just to watch her fly her birds and how she's very knowledgeable, and she analyzes things, and she's good at talking about them before she lets her birds out to fly. And it's just, she's just wonderful. And so I think everybody can benefit from her. It doesn't matter if you're a veterinarian, a vet student, or a bird owner, you're going to learn something from Chris. She's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So then we get into basically the different topics. And we don't need to go into each and every one of them because you're going to come to the retreat and learn about them, right? But I think, again, it shows diversity both in the medical side of things as well as the non-medical. So,
yeah, with Jose, I mean, I just thought his talks were very fascinating because we end up putting what he has seen in wild parrots and how wild parrots influence their environment, and all that is extremely important from a wild perspective, but it also gives us some pause to think about that in terms of the parrots in our own homes, in our rooms. And you know me, I can't let this slide go by without the concept of flight, right? And so as a veterinarian, you know, I own a couch potato. This Amazon, he would rather sit around and eat peanuts and watch hockey, and he's not allowed to do any of that. And I'm trying to fly him. So that's because exercise is so incredibly important, and we're going to talk a bit about that at the retreat. But anyway, that's it's something that is important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to having Chris Shank and the behaviorists here, because we need to keep their brains active. They're smart, and parrots are very smart, and we think of them. We could go into talk about this forever. We think of them that they're not, and that's a huge mistake. And so this is a retreat that helps you really open that up and really understand it.
I'm excited to talk about mushrooms. I mean, I know you've said mushrooms are safe for a long time, but to talk about them in more detail and the benefits and what's safe and all.
Oh yeah, it's I can't wait to listen to what Cindy has to say. I'm excited about it.
And, you know, ganglioneuritis and Bornavirus are so complicated. And as Susan knows, I try to be one of the more articulate laymen.
You are, and then, you know.
But then, in full disclosure, Phoenix recently tested positive for ganglioneuritis after, you know, probably harboring it for 28 years. And now I'm like, what? What do I do? How do I this? How do I that? So, I mean, I hope.
You sound just like an average bird owner.
I know. All my knowledge went out the window because now I'm like, how do I help my bird? Right. So I think it's going to be really important that though that topic is growing more and more relevant in our day-to-day lives of our birds, because we're understanding more about what it is and how it happens and what we do about it. It used to be they just died and we didn't know what it was. So now we know, and now we can do things about it. And it's not like a death sentence. So but we have to be smart about how we talk about it and not all panicky and all, you know, tragic. We just need to be practical and realistic and have our good friend, Dr. Orris, tell us what to do. Yeah. So
yeah. I want to bring up something else. So long ago, you know, there used to be bird clubs, and there used to be bird talk, and there used to be more meetings where bird owners interfaced with veterinarians because their birds are dying. And they had, you know, I used to talk about, essentially, I'm going to just say the word bad birdie diseases. And in modern America, we don't want to talk about, we want to talk about the good things, right? We only want to stress the good things. But the bird owners of a while ago had to learn about these different diseases. They were more aware of them. They were more aware of quarantine. They just didn't go out and buy a bird and throw it in with their other birds because they knew better, because they could lose them all. They could all die, you know. Or there was a time where, lo and behold, it was such a bad disease that the USDA would come show up at your door and they would want to put all those birds, all your birds, your precious birds, to sleep. I mean, it was bad. So I know it's hard and it's difficult, and gosh, why do I have to learn this? But there isn't a great place other than our forum for bird owners to learn about not only the good, but the bad and the ugly.
And how to prevent it or treat it.
And how, yes. And so when you own a bird, you know, there's a certain amount of responsibility that you have to have. And I sometimes come face to face with that, where people don't want to own up to their responsibility. They want somebody else to pay for it, or they don't want it to be their problem. They want it to be somebody else's problem. But part of that responsibility is providing a wonderful, safe environment for the bird. And part of that safe has to deal with disease and to keep disease out. And that's another reason why it's important that your bird goes to an avian veterinarian. And if we just had Liz Wilson here, she could talk about that, Anne.
I know. I'm forever grateful that she introduced you and I back in 2000.
Oh my God, we love Liz Wilson. Yeah.
She was great at connecting the veterinary world with the everyday person and building that bridge, and we'll be forever thankful. But along the lines of what you're talking about, I think Scott Eccles, you know, like you say, he's probably going to get a Nobel Prize, many thereof. He's become his time is very precious, and he has there are a lot of limitations on where he can speak and what he can do these days. So the fact that he's willing to do this 1 hour talk for us about all these incredible things he's finding via the CT and the MRI and he's great at saying it in a way that the veterinarians can have a lot of takeaway, and the everyday bird owner can also know, oh, that's why my bird keeps biting off its tail. It's got an infection, or, you know, it's mutilating because it's got heart disease.
Yeah, the pigeon style. Yeah.
And a lot of times the veterinarians are doing the best they can to diagnose something, but without that more detailed knowledge that he's come to gain through his research, he's now realizing that something may be designated one thing, but it's really another. And that's so helpful. When
I was gonna interject that if anyone who's attending today has not seen his Lafeber webinars, they're recorded on Lafeber's YouTube channel. It's definitely worth a rewatch. He did 2 episodes for us, and maybe but fascinating. Yeah.
And he's light years down the road from that now too. I mean, he's just exploded with his research. So he's going to synthesize that into language we can all appreciate and understand. And the veterinarians that are hopefully there as well will be able to take it back to their practices and help those of you across the country.
And you're absolutely right, Ann. He's bringing veterinary medicine up to a new level.
Absolutely.
And so the rest of us are wanting to get up there with him, but our first problem is the $200,000 and $300,000 machine.
Yeah.
And then the second problem, but I mean, here's the deal: it's a $300 CT machine, and there's only 1 or 2. So not all, and I don't know if he's going to talk about this, but not all CT machines are created equally. So you, as a client, when you talk to your veterinarian and they say, "Well, we need to do a CT," sure.
Yeah, make sure it's the right kind.
It's got to be the right kind. And then the other thing is, it has to be done with contrast. and Scott, I think is going to show, probably, I would assume, I've seen this before that he's shown, is the contrast agent has to be delivered. First of all, it has to be the right contrast agent, and it has to be delivered in the right timing interval for there to be a decision made. And and then the interpretation has to be correct.
Yeah.
So not all radiologists can interpret CTs on birds correctly.
Right.
And I think that's implied here in this, that he's going to talk about that because of the misdiagnosed disease, right? And so
I remember he told me one time that he had all these specimens, bodies, of birds that had died, supposedly of what we used to call PDD. We're trying to extinguish that term, guys. Ganglioneuritis is the new term. And that he had them, and only 1 out of like 15 was truly ganglioneuritis. They were all something else. So, I mean, that's huge information. And it gave him knowledge about how to look for the right reason, the heart disease or the osteoporosis or whatever. So very valuable. Shall we go on?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so here's just a draft. Nobody take this to the bank just yet. Okay, oops, sorry. But it gives you an idea of what's going on. And there's 4 simultaneous tracks for the most part, but there's always something, deep science and something fun. So you can always find something that fits your personal interest. And sometimes they're repeated. So if you miss it at one, you can go hear it at another. So this just gives you an idea of where we're headed.
Hey, Anne.
Yes.
Can you quickly point out where Scott is?
Scott Eccles.
Yeah, Eccles.
You see my
Oh,
cursor?
yeah. There you go.
Because he's in Utah that day, unlike being all over the world like he usually is now. So that's 7:45 a.m. for him, basically. So
yeah. So
and he will be only one by Zoom. So, but in the big room so that everybody, and hopefully maybe we can record it. So. All right.
I think so.
So I see Jane is here today. We have a big auction. Most of the things are packed away as soon as they come, but we just got these wonderful canvas and cloth quilted things from Jane in Illinois, and I just couldn't resist taking some pictures to show you how fun it's going to be. So
Aren't they great? They're beautiful.
I got a bid on this. Is just the tip of the iceberg. She sent a whole bunch of incredible stuff. Thank you, Jane. We can never thank her enough.
Now, if you own an African gray and you don't bid on that, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I like the crazy bird lady one. Yeah, but there's a whole lot more. So this just gives you an idea of how fun it is. So
wow, those are amazing.
Oh, you don't have the silent auction part. These will be
in the auction.
These will be in the silent auction.
This is just an example of some of the things in the auction. Most things are already packed away, but these just arrived from her. And
I have to tell you, the silent auction is amazing. It's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, if you just go for the darn silent auction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much fun. And the money is going to help birds. I mean,
it helps us break even, frankly. We keep the price for the retreat really low because one, we know you have to find a place to stay, and we don't do block rooms anymore because nobody wants to stay downtown where it's more expensive. But if you have a car, you could just go a few minutes out of town and find a Holiday Inn or something like that. So that's easier. So again, we try to keep the price really low because we want people to value education and come for that reason. So we're not looking to make money off of this conference. So auction items like this is what make or break it for us. So thanks again, Jane.
We're paying for all the speakers to come. And
that's the main cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have 4 rooms going at once. We have a certain number of speakers, and so it becomes very expensive. That's why we also have our sponsors that help, but they don't pay for everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to ask you, Anne, just so that they know, there's no cost for them to park on and where it's at the campus. You want to say about that a little bit?
Yeah, parking, we'll send out instructions in advance about what you need to do to have free parking. And you can, we had to raise the price for lunch this year, even though we still lose money, but we recommend that you do include lunch when you register, because there's not really anything very close. And it's a fun time to just be together and talk to your colleagues.
Yeah,
So
that's the part, that's part of having calling it a retreat, because you're there and you're interacting with people. That's so important. We don't do enough of that anymore in our
right.
country. And
We have so many welfare organizations coming. We had quite a few last time, but I think so far this year we have 10 different ones from all over the country, which is great, because welfare organizations are becoming more and more important for both adoption and education. So a lot of birds are passing through the adoption welfare system, as they have to, because they live a long time and need lots of homes. So, I'm so glad to see the welfare organizations stepping up to more and more education. And it'll be a nice time for them to be together and meet people in their community, et cetera. So it's great.
yeah, so we're having it at the university. We're using their facilities, so that's why we have some nice rooms that are dedicated to, that you saw that they each had different names, so you can kind of zoom around.
Macaw room, the cockatoo room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and then the best room is the store.
Yeah. Yeah. So another thing that helps us almost break even is the store, and a lot of Superbird things, because Deb is there from Superbird Toys. So and then, we used to be able to get the whole Brazilian steakhouse and everybody could go, but we can't get that much space anymore. And we have so many more people attending. But we did find a place, thanks to Kathy, one of our wonderful volunteers, who has a connection to this place. So Friday night, anybody wants to come, it's a great chance to just relax, talk to people, some Southern cooking, cash bar, great view. Have a little fun, meet all the people you're going to be, mingling with the next couple of days. So I encourage you to come in time for that as well. And then we always try to put together a movie at lunch to say thank you to our sponsors like Lafeber. So if any of you have pictures that you could take of your bird eating a Lafeber product and email it to us, we'd be very grateful. This is my Phoenix enjoying a Nutriberry. So we hope that you can share some of those photos with us. Lafeber would probably like to have them too, but we'd like to put something together for the lunchtime to just say thank you again.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
it's just an exciting time, and then you just don't want it to end.
yeah,
And
that's why we're like, this is the last one. And then we get there, we have so much fun, and we're like, yeah, we can figure this out again. Yeah. But, we're bringing up the next generation. And Susan's always looking for people to expand her practice with. So if you know any young veterinarians who want to move to Toledo, which is going to be the place to live when climate change.
We're at the crossroads of America, I-75 and 80-90, Toledo, Ohio. But the thing is, I noticed somebody asked the question if we would do one on the West Coast. Oh my God. I don't think so.
Maybe our younger generation will pick up the arms to do more places. But hey, just get on an airplane and come. You can do it. It's only, another hour or two by airplane. So
yeah. I mean, realistically, I help Ann get the speakers together, and I do some calling and stuff. But boy, the yeoman's work is really on Ann. I mean,
not the team only here, great team here. Yeah,
getting all everything together, and then she gets. I don't know if Mike's going to be helping this year, but
he is coming. He is going to come.
Okay,
because our go-to volunteer. Yes,
we've been around long enough, and Oris has been around long enough that things keep changing with video and PowerPoint, and so I always run into that. I need Mike problem. So we have all those things.
Well, if you're anywhere close to Asheville, if you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia, it's a shame to miss something that's in your own backyard.
Mm.
Please come. Please do it for your bird. So
I have a couple questions for you guys.
Sure.
When would be like the deadline, so to speak, to like, do you have to pre-register by a certain time? Can you do it out on the site, or how is that?
we've only had walk-ins one time. So, but it was certainly possible, no problem. But we'll probably shut down online registration the night before or the day before, just because we'll be busy picking up speakers and setting up and this and that. So if for some reason you decide the last day, just come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it would certainly be nice to know because of the lunches.
Yeah, lunches, I have to give them a count a few days out. So yeah. And you can bring your lunch. I just don't, you just really can't go anywhere else. It's not close to anything else. So
Okay, and I believe the discount code for today's viewers is that.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you can offer that, or you want me to say? Yeah, so the
Sure,
early
yeah,
bird
sure.
registration ended at the end of January. But if you were listening today and didn't already register and want to, if you email the email there, contact@feedingslanding.org, we'll still give you that early bird registration. It's not inexpensive anyway. It's $169 at the non-early bird rate. That's cheap. So, but $139 at the early bird, and then lunch is $40 on top of that, and the dinner.
But there are two lunches,
Ann. What's that?
There are two lunches.
Yeah, $40 is for both lunches.
Yeah, that's for both.
And it costs us more than $40 to get coffee and lunches and this and that, but we don't want people trying to figure out how to go someplace else, because it really is a nice time to be together.
That's when you meet a lot of people too, just chatting.
And that's why we need Lafeber and the support we get to help it come close to breaking even. I think we made $75 last time. So,
Oh wow! But all the knowledge that you just how richness in knowledge is.
Yeah, exactly. Because while we've rehomed thousands of birds, and that's super important, education is equally, if not more important, because we touch the lives of more than just the birds who've come through our adoption program. And that's our goal, is to help as many birds as possible wherever they are. Which is why we do Zoom events now too. This is our only in-person event. We no longer have all those events in person like we used to over the years, because the Zoom events, as you know, reach people worldwide, which is great. But this is one of those rare in-person events which you can't replicate by Zoom. So being together really is valuable, and no better place to do it than Asheville. It's beautiful.
Sounds beautiful. And speaking to that, so if you've never been to a bird event like this before, should they leave their birds at home, their flock at home, leave them at where they're staying? But what's
Yes.
your take
It
on
is
that?
not a bring your bird event. In fact, we get an exemption from the university to bring a couple of birds for the behavior classes. And Chris Shank, she may, do some how do I teach my bird to fly kind of thing. And I'm sure Valor will do some stuff in his behavior classes. So we're able to bring 1 to 3 birds, but that's a big exception we had to get at the university. Yeah. So don't come with your bird. There are a lot of places you could stay where a bird can stay, but just not at the
Maybe like
event.
your non-bird, if you bring a friend along who can babysit your bird in the area.
A lot of Airbnbs, even some hotels are, receptive to birds. So it's just a bird,
Those are good questions. I'm glad you brought that up.
Somebody wants to know about continuing education credits. We have 3 different groups those have been authorized for. The International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants, IAABC, or IATCB. I get them all mixed up, but that's the animal trainers, basically. Those are the people like zoos and stuff are all part of that organization. And then RACE is what the vet techs and veterinarians are part of. So there's 12 hours authorized for anybody who belongs to any of those groups. And we'll certainly tell you how to get that credit when you're there.
Very cool. I was going to suggest that anyone who's traveling to this, on your travel day, wear your bird stuff so that when you're like at the airport or in a, waiting for an Uber, like just to kind of, I always got a kick out of that when I would go to bird events, is you could spot people that are out,
yeah.
like, we're going to a bird event together because you're wearing your bird stuff.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Asheville does have an airport.
It does. I think we are going to go from 4 gates to 6 gates here soon, even though Asheville has just boomeranged in terms of volume of people and construction. The airport's still pretty small. So it's not a direct flight from many places, but New York, DC, Atlanta, a lot of places are now able to fly in direct. So, some of our speakers are coming from the West Coast, like Rachel Baden and Crystal and Vouder are all West Coasters. So, they usually have to fly into Charlotte or Atlanta to then fly to Asheville. So we convinced them all to get up and get on flights like at 6 or 7 a.m. on Friday so they can be here in time for dinner on Friday night to meet and greet. So yeah.
Get your flights early so in case you have any kind of delay. Right? So.
Yeah, that's even better to be
But
early.
there are things to do and see in Asheville. There's the Vanderbilt estate.
The Biltmore.
Yeah, the Biltmore.
The oldest house in America, right?
Yes.
Or the biggest, the largest. That's what it is.
I think so. The largest.
The oldest and the largest.
Yeah. And for me, when Anna's dropped me off there, I've avoided the house and just walked the grounds because they're absolutely lovely. And in the springtime, you've got all these beautiful trees and flowers blooming. It's just delightful. So if you're driving or something, or even flying, you might think about a car. You might think about that's a place you also want to stop and see. There are other things there too. I really love to see mountain crafts. So from a craft perspective, they also have the Blue Ridge Parkway going through Asheville, and they also have there's a marvelous Blue Ridge craft facility that is kind of helping continue to keep the craft movement going. And it's just marvelous to go out there and see them.
The River Arts District is our big art community here. And
okay.
They had something up the other day that said it was the largest conglomeration of artists in the country. I'm not sure. And then the tallest mountain east of the Mississippi, Mount Mitchell, is very close to here as well. And then the Appalachian Trail and the Blue Ridge Parkway. So there are a lot of reasons people are moving in this direction.
Which is sad,
sadly, a little too fast. But the mountains are beautiful, they really are. So I can't complain. I moved here 20 years ago, for the same reason. So
yeah, so it's there are other things you can see and do in the area, and the craft movement is really a big thing, and artists have moved into that area. So that's another thing.
Breweries, a lot of breweries are here now too.
Okay.
I'm not a beer person, but if you're a beer person, it's definitely a mecca for breweries. Yeah.
And if you're a budding birder and you're from out area, just you might want to pre-check what birds you could find in the area. Kind of an right?
Indeed.
Wow. So you guys, how fast are these next couple months going to fly by for you with this event coming up?
Fast.
Is it gonna be like a snap of the finger and
because Anne will say, "Hey, do you have your lecture together?"
She'll be like, "What am I talking about again?"
That's what I'm going to say. Oh, I can't remember what I'm talking about. So it's going to go fast.
All right.
Yeah, we try to pick things that we know she's talked about before somewhere, like an event conference or whatever. So it's not starting from scratch. But as you know, you could just say, "Hey, talk about this," and she's off and running. So I just want to download from her brain everything she knows.
Oh, but the Gram-Stain lecture. I mean, I do Gram-Stains every day, but I don't have a lecture together, so I got to work on that.
And also these conferences, they have the speaker Q&A so that people can ask questions to y'all.
Thank you for saying that. That's right, Laura. In fact, that's a lot of people think that's the best thing at the very end.
And those panels are excellent because you just get so much a deeper insight onto things
And viewpoints.
yes,
And
and different
viewpoint.
viewpoints. Exactly.
I try to ask the question I know somebody disagrees on just because I want to hear the two different views, because we need critical thinkers, right? We need people who are like, why do I do that with my bird? That doesn't make any sense. So many things have changed, for the better.
Yeah.
That when people say, oh, I don't need to go to your class, I've had birds for 30 years. I'm like, yeah, you're the one that most needs to go to the class, because things are not the same anymore. They're far, far, far better for the quality of life of birds.
And I was also going to ask, because I know like this is just from Dr. Tolt, like speaking with them at these like AA at the Association of Avian Veterinarians, for example, there's a lot of sparks for ideas on on things that are like in the hallways, veterinarians talking and they kind of like, feed off each other's information. And I imagine that a conference like this with the speakers that you have, that just those side conversations between the speakers kind of like can drive a direction that might not have otherwise come for behavior,
Absolutely.
medical,
Absolutely.
or anything. So
Well
that's
said.
exciting. You guys attend this and you can actually be at an event where something might come up that no one's ever thought of before. It's kind of neat that
I
way.
mean, when you have an appointment at your veterinarian's office, I mean, they barely have time to talk to you about the medical stuff, much less the whole other world of things involved in taking care of a bird. And to have time to sit down and talk one-to-one, or have a more personal conversation is just lovely. I mean, I'm a geek at the veterinary conferences. I'm an affiliate member. I follow people around and just listen. I just want to absorb everything that's said. And that's the case here too. I think you have these supremely qualified people in our parrot community that you don't get a chance to spend time with otherwise. And what a luxury that is.
Oh, did you see who just popped up? Bob Dahlhausen.
Bob
Dr.
Dowson. Hi, Bob.
Come on, we love you.
Hey, can we let him come on video if he wants to? This, he may not want to be caught off guard.
You're welcome to if he gives me the thumbs. No, that's not because yeah, if you're not, I mean, you've done some webinars with him. Oh, his video's not working. So,
Right.
so
Well,
that's great.
I just promoted him to panelist, so if he wants to join, he can just
There you go.
He can make his video come alive.
Hi, Bob.
We've been
Say
talking
something
about you
to
today, Bob, and how wonderful you are. So
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I think we're winding down our this was fun, and this was like a sneak preview. So I hope a lot of people are spread, and also tell your bird loving your friends and people that maybe even if you're at a bird store, even just mention, I mean, that there's this event coming up that they can learn from people who have devoted their lives to birds and can further that knowledge to you. So it's an
And
excellent.
if they can't come though, still keep an eye open for Phoenix Landing, and I'm going to encourage you all to be members, so that you get the information of things that are happening. We do some Zoom events, the diversity of Zoom
once a
events.
month. Mhm.
Yeah, and you were having Rosemary Lowe soon.
Yes, in March, Rosemary Lowe, the esteemed Rosemary Lowe. In fact, this month is Dr. Carruthers from Stall Exotics, and she's going to talk about when things break, like, your bird flies into the window or breaks a leg or gets a bite, the unexpected thing that happens. What do you do in that moment of what do I do? Right. And it always happens on a Sunday night, or a weekend when nobody's around. So yeah, we try to have a unique speaker every month in addition to our core classes.
And you
So
could be anywhere to be.
you can be anywhere. People come from all over the world.
Yep.
And then in
Well,
most cases, they're recorded and uploaded to our website. So, you want to go learn about poop or behavior or whatever, you could go to our website and watch those recordings. So anytime at your own convenience.
Maybe that could be their homework leading up to this. They can ask spark some questions for when they get to be live with you guys. So.
Yes.
All right, I gotta announce today, we have a giveaway. I gotta announce this real quick before I forget. We have some, it's the Avocakes, Lafeber Avocakes 40th anniversary. So we have so many anniversaries going on at Lafeber. This is awesome. Avocakes are gonna go out to, and also another product, Lafeber product, your bird's choice. That's gonna go out to Jeannie Casasco. I hope I said your name correctly. You're today's giveaway winner, so congratulations. Yay. And I also,
Yay!
yeah, I also want to point out I'm wearing this fabulous Lafeber t-shirt of 50-year celebrating the Lafeber 50 years, and I'm going to try to stand up so people can see the glorious back of this shirt because it's got all the birds on it. Hold on a sec. Tell me if you can see this, if you can see the back of my shirt.
Yeah, we can see
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Here
it's
we go.
great.
They have there's a Valentine's special online where you get a couple of these t-shirts along with a couple bags of Lafeber products you can send to yourself or to someone, a friend who likes birds and who has birds because it comes with bird food. Or you can maybe donate it to a charity or a bird organization, who knows, but check it up online. And also, so this was our first webinar of 2024, and I think you guys got us off to an excellent start. And just the whole vibe of learning in the year ahead, you guys hit the nail on the button, and I'm really glad that we started with you guys. Next Friday, we're going to be on with Dr. Lamb, and this is interesting. She's going to cover the Patagonian conure, which whenever I see one, I always forget what bird is that, and then I was like, as an Amazon, oh my gosh, it's a huge conure. So that's
It
going to
is
be really
very
exciting.
loud, very loud.
Yeah.
To find very rare to see them anymore.
Yeah, you don't see them much anymore. We don't get many of them.
And if you do, they're oldsters often.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or do they always look really serious? They just have like a serious look maybe it's just the angle I've seen them at, but they're interesting birds, right?
Yeah, they live in the cliffs in Argentina, I think, and they're very gold. They have beautiful colors. Since birds see completely different than we see, I can't imagine the gorgeous colors they see in each other because they're just radiant.
Nice. All right. All right.
Well, thanks to Lafeber again for supporting our
Yes, thank you. Thank
retreat.
you so much.
Oh gosh, no, it's great to have these, and it's excited to be back on, and so many more topics to cover and the year ahead, and let's see. I think you guys are gonna hopefully you can get some little downtime so you can have ramp it back up as we get closer to April for y'all, because I know that's a very busy time for you leading into this fabulous retreat. So
You should come, Laura.
I will try. I will try to leave the West Coast traffic behind, and I always wanted to go to North Carolina, so now I got an excuse to. If I
There
can
you
make it,
go.
yeah, for sure.
Just do it.
Just
Just
do it.
do it.
All right, all right.
Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, we'll meet up there. Brenda. All right. On that note, guys, I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. All the best to you and your flock. And thank you for joining us today. And excellent. This is get very excited. Start planning your itineraries if and check out the videos. They can go to the Phoenix Landing website, right, to catch the video links for the videos that you mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a event page and it has our upcoming events, and then there's another link for the past recordings, and there's lots of them now because we've been doing them since 2020, I guess, when COVID hit. So it's a really good collection of knowledge.
All right. There we go. Well, let's get ready for it's the seventh Phoenix Landing retreat. So let's take advantage.
We'll see if we have it in us to do another one, huh, Susan? We'll get the younger generation engaged.
There we go. All right, guys. On that note, I'm gonna say adios. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Brenda. Thank you, Brenda.
All right, guys. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.